Martha Washington candy. Hey y'all, it's April and thanks for stopping by my Crazy Creative Life Christmas edition. In today's video, we are making a candy that I have seen for the past couple years, but I have never made it, but I've thought about it. Anyway, it's Martha Washington candy. I keep wanting to say Martha Stewart candy, but it's really Martha Washington candy. And it's, if you like cherries or coconut, walnuts, that's the three main ingredients in it, then you will like this. I love cherry stuff, so to me it's really good. It's just a little soft, so you definitely want to keep these in your refrigerator because that filling is a little bit soft. So anyway, if that sounds good, something that you're interested in, then go ahead and keep watching, and let's go ahead and jump on into the video. Okay, first of all, you're going to take 1 cup of butter or 2 sticks of butter. I'm using salted butter, of course, but you can either use one of each, or you can use both salted or both unsalted, but really the salt is sort of needed in anything sweet. It helps to bring out the sweet. So I'm using 2 sticks of salted butter. And you want to beat that up. Oh, I forgot to say softened. Make sure that they're soft. But you want to beat those up, whip those up really good. And I'm just using a hand mixer. You can use your big stand mixer if you have one. I don't know why. A lot of times I think I hate to get that thing dirty, so I use my hand mixer a lot. But anyway, whip that up really, really well. Then next, you're going to add 1 14-ounce can of the sweetened condensed milk. So then you're going to whip that up together really, really well. Okay, here I'm just showing you the Pinterest recipe that I'm using, and it shows you all the ingredients on the Pinterest page. On the very first picture, kind of shows you everything. Okay, next is your maraschino cherries. Now, I'm a little confused myself, but I'll tell you what I've done. On the cherries, it calls for 10 ounces of the maraschino cherries. I had a 16-ounce jar, so I thought, well, I better measure these. But when I measured them and pulled the cherries out and let them drain and set the juice to the side, I think it was like just a little bit under 9 ounces. So I think the best thing to do is to get a 16-ounce jar of the maraschino cherries and just drain them. I probably should have drained mine a little bit better, I think anyway, but try to drain them the best that you can. But then it calls for 3 cups of pecans. I had this 12-ounce bag, I believe it was 12-ounce bag of raw pecans. But when I chopped them up, that whole entire bag, it made the 3 cups. So the 12 ounces makes 3 cups, even though technically 1 cup is 8 ounces. Anyway, but it still worked out. It was 3 cups. So a 12-ounce bag of nuts is 3 cups of nuts. Just chop them up really fine. I'm sure you could also use walnuts if you wanted walnuts in this, but the recipe calls for pecans. All right, I've got my cherries chopped up really good. I've got my nuts chopped up really good and thrown in there. Next, it's a 1 14-ounce bag of the sweetened coconut flakes. You want to make sure that it's sweetened coconut flakes, and just pour the whole bag in there. And by this point, or right after this point, I believe, I realized, oops, my bowl was a little bit too small. So I switched over to my great big stainless steel mixing bowl. I like that thing anyway, but it's pretty good size. So anyway, here in just a minute, you'll see I've switched everything over to that big bowl. Next, it calls for 4 cups of powdered sugar. Truthfully, in my opinion, my humble opinion, I think it needed more, because this is a very, very soft middle, and you definitely have to have these in the refrigerator to make sure that that middle is a little bit hardened or harder. So honestly, and I had never made this before, so I kind of tried my best to stick pretty much to the recipe to make sure I was following it and doing it right. That way, when I make it again, I know what to do or not to do. Anyway, if I make this again, which I probably will because it was good, I'm going to add more powdered sugar. Most likely it'll be the whole entire bag, but at least it needed another 1 to 2 cups. All right, now it called for a tablespoon of vanilla. I probably did not use a tablespoon there. I probably used 1 to 2 teaspoons, but I'll come back in a little bit and add a little more. But that's just my homemade vanilla extract. So you just continue with your hand mixer, just beating all that stuff, incorporating all that stuff together. And you really probably do need a mixer, because this stuff I think would be hard to do just by hand. You could do it by hand, but it would be a little bit harder. All right, here, I've done a taste test. You always want to do a taste test of anything you make. To me, I felt like it needed more cherry flavor. So, almond extract is kind of a cherry flavor. It's odd, and it's a certain type of almond. It's not like the almonds that you would find on Almond Joy or whatever, or the almonds that we buy at the store from Planters and eat. I forgot what the type of almond this was. I've looked at it one other time. But anyway, this particular almond, it almost gives you like a cherry type flavor. So I went ahead and added, I believe it was 2 teaspoons. Yes, it was just 2 teaspoons to this mixture. And then I added a little bit more vanilla because I don't think I put quite a tablespoon in there. So I just added a little more vanilla. And that almond extract, it really did help enhance that cherry flavor. So it's really up to you. The recipe doesn't call for it, but you know me. So anyway, that's what I'm doing here. All right, next I'm just taking my small 1-inch cookie scoop. And I'm scooping all this out and trying my best to somewhat roll this into a ball. Like I said, this is a very wet dough. And, before that, you're supposed to cover the dough up and put it in the refrigerator for a couple hours before you even roll these out. So I did do that. I put them in the fridge, I think maybe 3 or 4 hours. And so I'm taking my cookie scoop and I'm scooping those out. And it's still somewhat, a little wet feeling. So what I ended up doing, and I'll show you that a little later, but I ended up taking these and sticking them in the freezer for a couple hours, which they still didn't freeze. Maybe I didn't have them in there long enough. I don't know, but anyway, like I said, it's a wet dough. I really think it needed more powdered sugar. So let's carry on. All right, I had a little bit of this Ghirardelli, the milk chocolate flavored candy wafer melts or whatever, and I did go ahead and use what I had left of the milk chocolate candy melts. And honestly, whenever I tried those, after they kind of cooled down and hardened up, especially after I got them cold, it did kind of give me that crisp that I like, that I've talked to y'all about in my previous candy videos. It did give me that. So that probably would be more of an option for me if I decided not to do the wax. That would be more up my alley. Okay, now I just took, it's roughly about 2 cups of just the semi-sweet chocolate chips, the Walmart brand. And I put roughly about 2 teaspoons, I believe, of coconut oil. And I probably should have showed that, and I apologize. I thought I did, but I guess apparently I didn't. But this was just organic coconut oil. And if you're not familiar with it, it's kind of, you can get it just completely liquid already, or you can get it's more of a solid, kind of like how a Crisco will solidify. But coconut oil is very, very beneficial for our body. But what the coconut oil does, it's the same as the Crisco or the wax. It just thins out that chocolate, so it makes it easier to dip your candy in. The wax makes it a little bit thinner, and then it will, in turn, kind of harden the chocolate back up. Whereas the Crisco or the coconut oil does not harden the chocolate back up, with the exception of being in the refrigerator. Now, you pull them straight out of the fridge, yeah, it's kind of a harder chocolate. But with these, you need to have them in the fridge anyway because the filling is so soft. But, so, this is just options. You can do the wax, you can do the coconut oil, you can do the Crisco. I just wanted to kind of give you all options. Or you can do the candy melts. And all you do is put a little bit in your chocolate and in your microwave and put it on half power. And stir it about every 30 seconds or so until it's melted. Or you can put it in the double boiler and melt it over the stove, which is probably the better option, but it just takes you a little longer to do it that way. So anyway, these are semi-froze. Oh, I don't really even call them froze. They're just a little harder than they were when I got them out of the fridge. And what I ended up having to do is just re-roll them because they were sort of in wonky shape. So I did sort of re-roll them while they were halfway froze and dip them in my chocolate until I got them all done. And I just kind of let them sit there to try to harden as much as they could on the countertop. From this point, and I don't think I showed it on video, I ended up taking them and sliding them onto a sheet pan and stuck them in my freezer. That way that chocolate could harden up even more, because I was needing to get out of there because I had some places to go and people to give candy to. So I ended up sticking them in the freezer, and that did harden them up, and then I'm keeping them in the refrigerator. They should keep in the refrigerator roughly about 2 weeks. But I don't recommend you keeping them out on the countertop. I recommend you keeping them in the refrigerator. What I'm showing you here is how soft they are when they haven't been in the refrigerator very long. They're very, very soft in the middle. But you keep them in the fridge and they get cold, then they do pretty good. And they taste really good. I think that one was the milk chocolate candy melts. That's not bad. It still has a little bit of a crunch to it. Oh. Okay, I can tell the difference. You don't mind your chocolate being soft, and it just, I don't know how to really describe it, but your chocolate being soft, and you don't really have that little bit of a crisp to the chocolate, then it's fine. Doing your chocolate like this, melting it with the coconut oil, but it doesn't set apart. Now this is the candy melt. It does have a little bit more of a crisp to it, so if you don't like the wax idea, this is another option, because once it's cold, it does have a little bit of that crisp to it. I still prefer the wax. So anyway, that's it with our Martha Washington candy. I always want to say Martha Stewart. So if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that little button. Turn on the notification bell. Boing. And that way you'll know when I upload more videos, because there'll be more coming out. So have a blessed rest of your day, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. Hey, and if you like this video, check out my previous Christmas video, and you may want to check out my 13 Snacks of Halloween series too. Talk to you soon.